Hey guys, welcome back to VKQ, Interests and Adventures. So, Do You Nerds started this thing where they did the Super Nintendo, then they did the Genesis, and they're doing multiple different consoles of the $100 challenge of get the console, pick it up, $100, pick your games, use price charting, and see what you come up with. It's fun. I'm going to keep it up as a series. Right now, I'm going in order. Since I did 16-bit Super Nintendo, now we're doing the Sega Genesis. Now, I don't have nearly as much nostalgia for this system as I do the Super Nintendo. I'd never had a Sega Genesis up until, say, my 30s? Played it at friends' houses. Oh, and quick shout out, Feral Inferno. Thank you for the shirt. Fits great. Love it. All right, let's get down to brass tacks here. The very first game I picked for a $100 collection for the Sega Genesis is the first game that I bought for the Sega Genesis after I bought the Sega Genesis. 6-pack. My first multi-cart for it. It's got Sonic the Hedgehog, Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, Revenge of Shinobi, Columns, and Super Hang-On. All very good games, and at the time of recording this video, in the beginning of October 2022, $12 game. $12 game, 6 games on it. Can't beat that. Alright. The next one, like I said in my Super Nintendo video, I gotta have a boxing game in every single system I have if I'm gonna have a collection. So, this one's $4.97. A very underrated boxing game on the Sega Genesis. We got Evander Real Deal Holyfield's Boxing. Now, I would love to go based on what I paid for games, not based on what they're worth right now, because I'd be able to pick a lot more games that I picked this up for $1 when I bought this. But that's my second one. It's a boxing game, self-explanatory. Great game. Now, those of you who know me know I love video pinball. Not as much as my wife, but I love video pinball. And I picked the quintessential video pinball for the Genesis. $8.72. Sonic Spinball. You take Sonic, you turn him into a ball for a pinball table, and you get the Chaos Emeralds. Great game. Love it. Next. We gotta have a little bit of bloodshed, because that's the only thing that made the Mortal Kombat on Genesis better than on Super Nintendo. At $9.32, I picked Mortal Kombat 2. Comment down below, who is your go-to character in the Mortal Kombat series? I'm a Johnny Cage guy myself. Next, I wanted to pick another cart that had multiple games on it. And I sometimes like going back to simplistic, just classic arcade games. So I picked at $8.67 William Arcade's Greatest Hits. It's got Joust, Sinistar, and a few others. Just great classic arcade games. So between the first 6-pack and this one 4, that's 10, 11, 12, 13 games right there on these 5 carts. The next one, I wanted to pick a light gun game. I love light gun games. So I'm just going to assume that you have a light gun for the Genesis in this collection, even though I know the light guns themselves are really pricey, and I don't have one for the Genesis yet. If anybody knows a good deal or wants to send me one, I comment. We'll get a hold of me. Alright, I picked one of my favorite arcade light gun games for this one with $8.99, Lethal Enforcers. Now, I never paid that much for it, but Lethal Enforcers, light gun game. You're a cop, you shoot the bad guys, play the next level, shoot more bad guys. Alright, this next one is the one that cost the most. It took up a little bit of money. It's another sports title. It's a football game. $23.74, Sega Genesis, Mutant Football League. Now, because I have it in the clamshell and it's complete in box, it's worth more, but we're going based on loose prices here. So this game here is awesome. One of my favorite plays here is bribe the ref. There's literally a play you can do. You just bribe the ref. Next, $14.25. Action platformer. Very underrated. Not too many people will put this on their list. I guarantee it. Alien 3. $14.25. I was a little surprised by that. I picked this up for $3 a while back. Alright, and I have one more game. A $6.31 game for a game that plays a lot like RC Pro-Am, except you could launch missiles. So it's like a cross between RC Pro-Am and Spy Hunter. But if you don't memorize each turn of each track, as it doesn't show you, well, let's just say you're not going to get very far. I picked up combat cars for my final game for it. That brings me up to a grand total of $97 and a penny. But once again, I need to add $2.99, have some fuel so I can play these. Even $100 now. I'm going to go play some Genesis.